Hello, everybody. My name is Adrian Julian. I work in Keeper Security's marketing team, and I'm joined today by Jonathan Padilla, one of Keeper's longest tenured solutions engineers and a respected security engineer in the community as a whole. And today we're going to be talking about supercharging identity access management. So, securing internal web-based applications and other highly sensitive websites is always a massive security concern that legacy VPNs and even modern ZTNA solutions often fail to address. So one of the challenges, and this was something that had started before the pandemic, but only became worse after, is that distributed work models present new security challenges since employees can now access corporate resources from different locations on different devices. So, and this is especially critical for IT and DevOps teams who are using privileged accounts to remotely perform infrastructure monitoring and management. So, those teams need a secure, reliable, and scalable way to remotely connect their machines using RDP, SSH keys, VNC, MySQL, and other common protocols. So Jonathan is going to show some exciting tools that allow you to do just that in a way that is easier and just more secure. I'll give you the platform, Jonathan.
Hey, thank you very much, Adrian. I'm going to share my screen here. Just go through a couple slides before we really start sinking our teeth into enhancing or supercharging identity access management. Let's get my screen going here. Anyway, yes, my name is Jonathan Padilla, and I am a solutions engineer here at Keeper Security. And I love doing what I do here, helping people protect their credentials and their infrastructure. Let's move on with supercharging identity access management or enhancing identity and access management. So look at this. This is staggering. 68% of our breaches involve the human element. And it's really just that. And I want to even say administrators of systems and environments, because we're the ones truly utilizing those credentials and storing them where and how are we accessing them? Right? So the majority of those breaches are due to stolen or weak credentials or passwords. Let's keep moving on here. So traditional layered cybersecurity, all right? So most organizations have inadequate visibility, right? Visibility looking into their environment and their infrastructure and their compliances. It's inadequate. They don't have the right tools or the capabilities to do it. Also, organizations, have layered cybersecurity defense. So what we mean by that, they have all these disparate systems, right? They're paying for this, they're paying for that. And it's this layered security that it's kind of hard to manage at that point. Keep up with software updates, agents, configurations, management, and maintenance. It takes staff to do that, right? Let's keep moving on. Here, so look at today's challenges. We'll cover some VPNs. Let me just talk about VPNs real quick. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare when people call. It's like, can you reset my VPN? It's not working. Something's not working. Or VPNs even getting breached, right? VPNs can get breached. So we think about that, and then we start getting scared to allow people to use VPNs, especially as Adrian was saying. Ever since COVID, working from home, people bringing their own devices, people with their own networks, they're VPNing into our infrastructure and allowing the cyber criminals possibly direct access to our infrastructure through that endpoint. That has this huge vulnerability. It's out of your control, not your network, not your device. So anyway, VPNs, they scare me in a couple different ways. ZTNAs, right? Fail to address securing internal web-based applications. It happens all the time. Why? I don't know. Can you reset that? Why? Why? Bring your own devices, as I was talking about before. Again, scary. You're bringing your own device, your laptop, your cell phone, and you're accessing work resources and critical infrastructure without any control or insights of what's going on with that or who has access to what within our infrastructure, right? So, and distributed workforces, right? Distributed workforces, they encompass all of that, all of the above. All of what we just mentioned, 1 through 3. Let's keep moving on. So the solution, Keeper Connections Manager, right? It's number one, it's agentless. And when you think about management and maintenance of a product, of a solution that you're using for your cybersecurity strategies, I think about simplicity. I think about no agents that's going to cause me patch updates and worrying about if that agent's going to cause a breach. Right, but Keeper Connections Manager is an agentless remote desktop gateway or remote access gateway that's installed on-prem in your environment or within your critical infrastructure and networks, whether that's in the cloud, on-prem, co-location. This is in your control for what and why. So it's not infrastructure coming from the cloud on down into your environment, which is susceptible to a breach, right? That's not the right way to work. So we're going to see how Keeper Connection Manager enhances identity access management, or better said, privileged access management or privileged session management, how it enhances it and secures it without VPN. And why? Because Keeper Connections Manager has its own cryptographic model. And I'd like to say that our documentation is public, docs.keeper.io. You can read about its encryption models. And other cool things about what's going on, especially when people are accessing critical systems and infrastructures within your environment from home, at Starbucks, a different country, on the plane. You want some recorded web sessions to understand what was done during those sessions. And you also want to control web browsing too, right? Enterprise browsing, web browsing, secure web browsing. I want people to be able to browse within our infrastructure, but only to these said places in a controlled fashion, for example. And last but not least, password autofilling. This is important because I don't like sharing information directly, specifically passwords. I don't know what people are going to do with that. I give you the password, and for today's example, you're going to see me logging into a web firewall. I give you a password to that directly. You see it. You save it somewhere else in clear text. You print it out, put it under your keyboard. I don't know what you're going to do with that. So let's keep moving on. Let's check out a little bit about Keeper Connections Manager. And the nice thing about this is I love how it gets deployed. We have this one installer that if you run it on a little Linux VM, for example, it literally just deploys in like 5 minutes. Done and done. Okay, so how does it work? I keep on talking about it, but you want to see it, don't you? Let's check it out. Let me go ahead and exit this real quick. Now let me go to my Keeper Connections Manager portal here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to log out real quick. I want to log out real quick because I've integrated this into my Active Directory, number one, which is nice. You can integrate it into your IDPs for, utilizing the same username and password, getting access to, a platform within your environment. That's nice. But I want you to see something. I want you to see the login flow because you're going to see a username, you're going to see a password, and then you're going to see a two-factor, which is highly important, right? Whether you integrate or not, you can turn on two-factor on the Keeper side. Okay, two-factor, boom. Now that was my password manager up here, putting that in for me. Okay, so that was my browser extension working for me. And so I like that two-factor because that covers our cybersecurity strategies, for example. Right? Does your platform have two-factor that gains you access to your critical systems and infrastructure? Cool. Well, I'm here at home browsing to, say our domain. This is a test domain, right? This is not, you're not running this on Keeper's website or Keeper's cloud environment. This is run within, again, your environment. Whether it's on-prem, off-prem, in the cloud, it doesn't matter. Your domain names, your certificates, and that's nice. I'm in full control. And these are a bunch of connections that I've created as an administrator. As a matter of fact, I want to go over here real quick. Let's look at some of these connections. Now, again, I'm an administrator. We're looking at the administrative view and some of these settings, and we'll see what an end user looks like as well. But I start thinking about stuff in my infrastructure, like maybe access to domain controllers, for example, Active Directory domain controllers. Or maybe access to critical system and infrastructures within our environment, like a firewall, for example, or a switch, for example. So these are all the connections I have created as an administrator. And if we look at any one of these connections, I don't know, we look at these. Give me a moment here. Let's get this. You'll see some of the protocols that a Keeper Connections Manager does support, anything from remote browser isolation or secure browsing, enterprise browsing, or Kubernetes connections, SQL connections, are just connections across the board. And a couple of different ways to work, and just to skim over this very fast, you could put the information in here in clear text, or you can choose to utilize the Keeper Vault to inject the information in secret. Again, rather working in clear text or working in secret, the administrator is the only person or administrators that can see this section of setting up connections. And look at this. Look how beautiful I love about this. It's not just RDP. You can, say I'm selecting the connection type. It's max connections to that system, max connections per user, things that maybe you didn't know before that you can do with RDP. You have a slew of things in here available to your fingertips to control. Okay, but it's not just RDP. Again, let's go ahead and look at some website connections we've set up and see how we gave them to that end user and how they're going to access it. And this is a connection to our firewall system, internal in our infrastructure. Okay, let's check this connection out here. Right, this is a URL, and we're forcing the only site that they're allowed on. We're going to see this in action. And again, some other parameters and configurations at your fingertips that you can set. All right, let's check these out. Now, I'm an administrator, and I've integrated into our environment, or you can create users manually. And I've had this user over here. And the thing I like about this as well, having users utilize this platform to get access to critical system and infrastructure, because I can control what time they get logged in at, what time they're allowed to log in, what time they're forced to exit. Maybe they're not a salaried employee, they're hourly, and you want to enforce that. What day they're going to start. Nice onboarding experience, and what day they're going to end. Whether they're a summer intern or you're letting someone go. That's automatic. What time zone someone may be in to conform to that. But what's most important is what connections do they have access to? Out of all the connections the administrators have created and all the resources within our environment the administrator has created, what are they going to allow that user to have access to at home, right? At home, accessing this portal from home. Keeper Connections Manager is directly communicating with those target systems, right? So that's secure, and they're showing you a virtual pane externally to the end user externally, okay? And so that's nice that I can put that out there, and I can now conform to how the user uses the platform to get access to infrastructure within our environment. So let's go to the end user. Let's go to the end user real quick, and give me a moment. Let's just do it like this. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and log in as another user, again, AD user. And apologies, I'm going to go ahead and grab a password. That is too long for me to remember. So I do save my passwords here in Keeper Password Manager. I'm going to go ahead and just grab that information here. I'm going to go ahead and put in my two-factor. Now, in this instance, I'm just going to use my phone and any two-factor application that can scan that QR code when you sign up and you set it up. Google Authenticator, Authy, Microsoft, anyone that can scan that QR code. Hopefully I put that in time okay, beautiful. Awesome. Well, hey, this is what I have access to. I'm an end user. I don't have anything else other than preferences and my active sessions. But this is nice. Here I am. I'm an end user. I'm using my own devices at home. I'm using my own internet connection. And so I say it that way. And let's talk about using my own devices at home, using my own internet connection. And I am now here in browsing to the firewall, for example. Let's talk about that. So here's a remote browser isolation, or better known as enterprise browser, for example, or secure browser. So many different names for it these days. I can't keep up. But let's get access to that. Check this out. I'm the IT guy managing firewall. Credentials automatically inject for me. I don't know what they are in secret with that connection profile that the admin set up. And now here I am. I have access to a firewall system within our infrastructure. This is not externally exposed to the World Wide Web for you to manage. I've seen people do that. I've seen firewall interfaces that are exposed to the World Wide Web for you to be able to work from home and manage that. Why? Because now everybody's working from home. That's scary. That keeps your firewall interface susceptible to a brute force attack and a breach. This is more secure. Here I am browsing to our Keeper Connections Manager's web interface, And this is a browser-based admin portal to my firewall, and this is being accomplished. This is being accomplished by containerized browser. Okay, it's containerized. It's not me browsing directly to it and its hostname. I'm connected to Keeper Connections Manager. So I'm going to say this: if my device gets breached and compromised, they can't do like a data exfiltration attack on me, a cross-site scripting attack on me to get access to information or credentials that I've been using for the firewall or information directly with the firewall. That doesn't exist. All right. When my device gets breached, it's not direct access to that web interface and that said system. I'm doing it through Keeper Connections Manager, and vice versa. And vice versa. What if I browsed to a website that was insecure, for example? And so let's see something a little bit more different. So it's just kind of RBI still. So focusing on RBI, let's look at a different experience with RBI. Let's look at, hey, you're in the environment or out of the environment, but you're gonna browse around, and this is what we're utilizing as our secure browser, right? And so cool, awesome. I'm gonna just, hey, dogs, great. Oh, perfect. Oh, wait, I have to go check I gotta go check the sports and see what, apologies, see what the game is and who won. So all right, NFL. Oh shoot. Well, okay. I know Yahoo usually has that. Yeah. Okay, cool. I got go here. All right, cool. Go Yahoo. I wonder why NFL didn't work. Let me go to
Yeah, and that I was going to provide some clarity on that. Like, you're able to lock access to certain websites or applications from the platform itself. So that's why, you might try to access some websites that are just not accessible, and that's the beauty of it too. You can restrict access to a single website or application, so that the task is done and you're in and out. And yeah, that's one of the cool things about it.
Yeah, absolutely right, Adrian. And you see here, that's not browsing experience we're getting. We're getting the address bar now. The administrator allows us to. We're starting at the Google, but here now they're controlling where we can actually go. Now you can leave this completely open, allow people to go anywhere, but this is nice because say this was within our infrastructure, or we just really don't want to buy a proxy server and control it that way, right? We want to control it this way. You can easily do that. And you can easily control any allowed resources coming in. Now, these resources would be like videos and images. We have full documentation on this, but you can easily control your user's browser experience within or out of the environment, not just within the environment, right? So let's keep moving on. Yeah, it's remote browser isolation. Whether you use it to directly get access to an application or infrastructure within the environment, or websites and web apps in a controlled fashion. It's not just that. It's not just websites, web applications. Internally in your systems, you're going to have a plethora of systems. You're going to have maybe some Linux machines and Windows machines. Let's just take a look at that real quick. Let's just go there real fast. Start connecting to a couple of systems here. All right, cool, nice. Oh, nice. And it's connecting me to, right, without me ever knowing the credentials to that information. It's just I was allowed access to that connection, and so now the connection shows up within my portal. Okay, and so multiple connections. It's not just one. Maybe you need to work with multiple systems. Cool. Maybe SQL. It doesn't matter. But however many windows you need to come up. And the thing I like about this, especially when I'm working with, if I'm truly utilizing this to manage and maintain infrastructure or monitor, right? I could just connect to a couple things and monitor them at once, or do an update and upgrade all at once. That's really nice that I could do that. Away from there, let's go ahead and get back over here real quick. Let's just show a little bit about some connections and what they can do. So here I am, right? I connected to maybe a Windows desktop, maybe mine. Maybe I need to administrate something. And the nice thing about this, and when we talk about like no VPNs, and it allows us to do something. Let me do this here real quick. Let me bring up some files. And when I think about no VPNs, I think about how quick I can upload and download things. I don't know. We'll just grab a couple things over here that I'm seeing. All right, cool. And just shoot. Oh, let's see. Bam. Oh, that was sweet. So I think about that. I wanted to show that uploading and downloading. I just dragged and dropped, uploaded and downloaded it. And I like this because with no VPN, my uploads and downloads are not going to get restricted to VPN speeds, right? I have a nice clear path. I'm paying for a gig at home. I got a gig at work, and I want to use as much as I can with it. Now, we've been doing a lot here. And the cool thing about utilizing Keeper Connections Manager is the administrator gets to monitor granularly of what's going on in the environment. Rather, they're in here moseying around and looking around. There's some active sessions. Oh, active session. Let me join that real quick. Now, if this connection was set up in this fashion, an administrator can just connect to the active session of the user without that user stopping, right? Stopping me and having me wait while they, maybe stop playing a video game on their desktop, or they were browsing on Amazon and doing some shopping, right? Look, this is the end user right here. It's my end user. This is their current session. Here, let's do it this way, right? And they see I'm currently looking at them. Boom. Right, I'm the admin. I can move around if I want, or I'm just watching that user work. And that's really nice when we talk about monitoring systems. Now, if we're not monitoring systems, or say that we weren't available to monitor a system at that time, it's not a big deal. One of the things the administrator can do is set up recordings of sessions. Let me go back over to my administrator real quick. No, over here, apologies. Let's go back over to my administrator. Yeah. All right, history. This is nice. Now, history is good for so many different reasons. Jonathan worked on the firewall yesterday with RBI, and now we can't get access to some of our infrastructure or websites we were serving up internally. Well, it's totally cool because you're gonna have a full recording of the session and any history, any session you want. We'll have a full recording. Let's check this out here real quick. Cool. Right. So, all right, cool. I want to state that gray, I think it's video, and green is text-based, but let's get that going real quick. Cool. Nice. It's put in there. And then we have a full session to see what was going on. Now, I know we were doing talking most of the time, so not much activity, but you can see that this is really cool. The session recording, if you ever wanted to monitor your monitoring systems and their graphs the other day. But regardless, you can see what the user was working on. Let me go ahead and just go over here, see what was done. And a lot of people ask, well, this is loading, because actually this is coming from one of my NAS systems. That's why it's taking a moment here. They say, where do these recordings save at, Jonathan? And the recordings will naturally save on the system. Oh, look at that. You can see it's actually fast forwarding and playing all of the recording quickly. So it could save on the host system serving Keeper Connections Manager, or any target storage system that host system has access to. A Windows share, an iSCSI target, whatever you have set up, this will be done here. But this is cool, right? I don't have to wait and watch the whole recording. I can just get to the spot that I wanted to go to. The recording will take me there. We're almost there. That was a longer recording than I thought. Here we go. Now we're at that section we wanted to be at. And still, it's just not much excitement going on other than me moving a mouse and talking at that time. So yeah. Any of these sessions, you can see.
Yeah, no, and this is awesome for auditing capabilities too. I mean, it's a game changer there. But yeah, we're going to come up on time. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Just a quick note. Yeah, for anyone who would be interested in learning more, head over to keepersecurity.com. You can register for a free trial. I did a test with someone the other day while I was talking to them on the phone. They were able to get set up with this in 7 minutes. It's super quick. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask away. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your time and have a great day.